Hello, IJ and Dada. Um, yeah, this is mainly like a test. So I've got one question so far, which is there is there a way to pause and resume replays without like opening up the duration tab? Because I was recommended to keep the duration tab closed. And yeah, I'm just gonna wait like 3 more minutes and then start. P is pause. Okay. And also, now that I've actually started doing this, I now understand why the need for a separate logo in between games. Because I guess going from game to game does technically show the duration of each replay, doesn't it? Just click fast. Yeah, that's definitely an option. I'll just try to click fast this time. Um, and yeah, I'll probably start in like on the next minute. Well, actually, I have played the campaigns, but I think I like uninstalled and reinstalled Brood War, so it didn't keep the information. But actually, I did play through all of the campaigns except for the final four missions of the Zerg Brood War campaign, because I just hated playing Zerg, so I just used cheats for every single final mission to just get to the end. Okay, I'll start. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so here we have Maniac Ben, and over here we have Crimson 36. I know nothing about Maniac Ben. I think I might have played Crimson once, like in a past CPL preseason. So this is Radion. It looks like the Overlord will get a first scout, as people will usually send their stuff horizontally on this map. Oh, sorry, Dada. Yeah, this is preseason week 1, and this is group 22. So currently this is... Okay, so this looks like possibly a Forge expand, or... No, this is going to be a Gate expand, it looks like right now. Yeah, because he's waiting for the 150 minerals to place the gateway down, and then he's going to send a probe. Yeah, and there we go. So yeah, he'll go scout now. And meanwhile, Zerg is doing... This looks like Overpool, I think. Yeah, because the Overlord is only now leaving, so this definitely seems like Overpool. Seems that Protoss will get a late scout, as this is one of the rare times when the Protoss player sent the probe scout like vertically rather than horizontally. Oops. How would I change? Okay, yeah. I don't think Protoss saw the Overlord. I will try to turn down the music. Let me see. Oh no, it's already on minimum. Anyways, this is a lot of lings. This is 8 lings. So this will be a very aggressive overpool. However, Crimson is keeping his first Zealot in his base, so that will keep him more defended against the aggressive overpool. Which makes sense, because Crimson currently still has no idea what Maniac is doing. He's only now getting the scout. The probe will see these links for the first time. The 8 links will go across the map. I imagine that, yeah, so we will be making a forge. We will be placing Zealots. We do need to make a 3rd Zealot quickly. I don't know why we made gas before the 3rd Zealot. Like, this is very dangerous right now. And we need to send a probe back to make a forge. Right now we're losing the Zealot. And now at this point, this is getting really, really bad. We need to send like a lot more probes to defend this. Okay, and I suspect that this might just be game at this point, because I'm not even sure. Yeah, it was a bit of a mess up from Crimson. Again, unfortunate. I think every single Protoss has had losses like this. Alright, well, that was game 1. So it's Crimson and Maniac. Maniac won. But there are still several more games to go through. Okay, I will try to not scroll. I will definitely try to, yeah, like click on the mini-map rather than scroll and going forward. Okay, so this next game is between Maniac and Ziggy Stardust. Ziggy Stardust is another Protoss player, it seems. Actually, let me try to set up screen hotkeys for the different bases. See how that works out. In this case, it's going to be cross-spawn Radeon. And I believe, like, statistically speaking, Protoss tends to have an advantage in all cross-spawn positions versus Terran and Zerg. I don't exactly know why it is that Protoss has such a huge statistical advantage when it's cross-spawn. I think it might just simply be because Hydra busts take longer to build up. In this case, it will be another pylon. It'll be a Forge Scout. The pylon was a bit late. It probably should have been placed around 8 seconds earlier, ideally speaking. But in any case, we're going across the map now. And Zerg still hasn't placed a spawning pool. Okay, placing a spawning pool right now. So it was a bit of a late overpool. I think the spawning pool usually... It seemed like Zerg was on 250 minerals when the spawning pool was placed, but maybe he made a drone beforehand. I actually don't know the gender of this player. And yeah, seems like Protoss will get a scout soon. So right now, okay, this is, yeah, this is pretty cool. A lot of Zergs like to do this. They hide the drone in the corridor, and when Protoss just goes straight up the ramp, they don't see the drone. So you get to place a hatchery on time without getting any sort of probe block. I think like you can just counter that by Protoss as like just like scouting this spot before going up the ramp, but people forget to do that. Right now this is 4 Zerglings, which is I think the completely average number of Zerglings. And yeah, right now they're going to be sent after the probe. Come on, don't let the probe die. No. Unfortunate. I think you probably want to send another probe out on the map as soon as that happens. And yeah, that's what we're doing. Right now, is any Overlord heading to Ziggy's base? And the answer is no. So Zerg is kind of playing pretty blind. I imagine that Zerg probably knows at this point that it's probably Forge Expand, but still, Zerg doesn't know the specifics. And this probe at least successfully scouts the Zerg third base. Okay, are we making core and then Zealot, or are we making Zealot then core? We're making Zealot then the core. These Zerglings shouldn't really accomplish much. I don't think they can get this run by. Meanwhile, we'll successfully send a probe into the main. And so now Ziggy knows that Zerg is mining gas and sees the lair starting. So overall, this is a pretty successful scout from Protoss. Okay, and we're doing a bit of harass. This is actually pretty annoying because all the links are across the map, so now we're basically like losing mining time on the drones just to like attack a probe that realistically should not even like be getting away with this. Are we going for a Stargate? We are. We are making a Stargate. Nice. And like, it would be pretty weird not to make a Stargate when you see a lair starting. This is a lot of drones at this point. We're almost caught up to the to Ziggy's probe count. Spire? I imagine we're going to be placing a Spire shortly. This so far seems like a pretty standard play. We do have 2 Zealots moving across the map, so we might need to make more lings. Currently we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 somewhere? Is there a 6th ling? Well, right now we have 5. I would wait for 2 more links before fighting this. Because right now, currently the Zealots are getting pretty good value. Like these are very efficient trades. We have 3 kills and 3 kills on each Zealot. And they can kill it. They can kill that drone. Okay, nice. Actually, that was a really good drone drill. Are we seriously not going to kill any drone? Wow, okay. Wow, Zerg really got away with it. Really got away with greed there. Well, not really, because we ended up panicking and making a lot of extra links. So, in the end, I think both players are fine in that position. "12 links outside of Protoss Nat. I don't think they can do too much, though. We are getting the air attack upgrade for our Corsairs. And do we have the movement upgrade? Yeah, we do. So this seems so far geared towards a Zealot Corsair timing push once all those upgrades finish. And Zerg is going up to 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is 6 hatcheries. And so far we're not really utilizing the Spire to make Scourges. We're not making any mutas either. So it seems like we're going to be gearing towards Hydra play, is my guess. I wonder if we're also upgrading Overlord speed. I don't know how long that upgrade takes to finish. I don't think we've started it yet, though. Yeah, because the Overlords are moving slowly. 3 gate from Noob Stardust. These cannons are pretty far back. But I think it's too late to snipe the Forge, even if we did go Hydras. Okay, so we're making a pylon here, and I imagine there will be a second pylon here to trap the probe when the move out happens. Currently we only have, I think, 5 Hydras. And a bunch of useless Zerglings that aren't really doing a whole lot. The plus melee attack just finished. Okay, 4 Corsairs. I suspect that Protoss will be trying to do some sort of move out once we get a 5th Corsair. And I think we have a hotkey probe here. Okay, I did not know this, but this actually blocks the probe in this position. That is very interesting. So we don't actually need a pylon here, because we already have this pylon. And I guess this pylon placed here successfully blocks the probe. That's cool to know. This should finish in 20 seconds. So far this is decent Corsair micro. I think we can successfully kill this Scourge off, which isn't a big deal. It's only like 12 minerals, 37 gas, but it is something. Overall, the Spire hasn't really like done much other than threaten the possibility of mutas. We haven't really invested at all into air units. Okay, a 4th hatchery, which means that right now we're up to 3, 4, 5, 6. We're still on 6 hatcheries, but we're getting a 7th hatchery. And the Protoss Zealot push will be arriving. However, we have more than enough Hydras to defend against this. This push was pretty late, all things considered. And other than just like guaranteeing that Zergs makes some units, it won't really like do much, strictly speaking. Scouting Zealot. God, cells are so tanky. Hydras only deal like, I think, 4.5 damage to them when you get past the shield damage. So yeah, it's not a lot. So far this has been very defensive Protoss play. We never really did any sort of major push out past those 2 initial Zealots. We didn't even really like flag the Corsairs across the map. So far we just like kind of made the Corsairs defensively to punish any sort of muta play, but we haven't really tried to hunt Overlords for them. And at this point it's a bit late to hunt Overlords for them because Overlord speed finished. That being said, there's only 2 Hydras defending here, so we could jump on this and still kill a bunch of Overlords, but it would take a while. 3 Hydras now. Are we sending any Hydras back? We're not. I think you commit on to this. It would be a mistake not to. It's like so many Overlords. You can definitely kill a couple. Okay, but now we have a lot more Hydras, so now at this point it doesn't make sense to commit further. I think if we micro that better, we could have killed like 5 Overlords. That's a really good storm. Yeah, so far, earlier I thought the players were even, but now at this point it seems pretty clear that Protoss is currently having a major advantage. The supply difference is really getting up there, and we just don't have enough Hydras to really fight against this army. This is like less than 2 control groups of Hydras, and they're just dying to the Zealots. We don't even really need Storm at this stage. Meanwhile, Protoss is sitting on a 3k mineral bank, so we can just pump Zealots for days. Well, at this point, I guess we just macroed a whole bunch, so it got back down to 1500. But that's still a lot. And Zerg has only a 600 mineral bank. How many Hydras do we have here? We have a decent amount. We have another control group here. If we bring all of our control groups of Hydras together, we might be able to fight this army. But also, do we have... okay, we have +1 missile attack finishing soon, but it's not done yet. And we are just kind of like sacrificing one group of Hydras away for nothing. Like, they killed 1 High Templar, but losing 8 Hydras for 1 High Templar is definitely not worth it. And this base is dead. There's no way to save this base. This counterattack is not going to work out. And thus, Protoss is just like gonna send the army back home after sniping the Zerg the Zerg 4th rather. We can clear out our natural here, we can set up a 3rd, and at this point this is going from basically like Protoss advantage to like Protoss almost victory. From this position there's like very little that Zerg can do. We can just like kind of push out again and start sieging down another Zerg base. Hopefully we get observers this time. We do have them, observers. Great. Do we even have lurkers? We don't have lurkers yet. We are making them, but only a few. Certainly not enough to defend against this. But it seems that instead of pushing out, Protoss will instead play a bit defensive and get a 4th base, which is certainly another way to play. Do we have a second forge? We don't, but that's fine. We don't really need a second forge. We can just kind of like clear out these Hydras. And then I think, like, after you clear out such a group of Hydras for basically nothing, you just kind of can push across the map. Zerg just has so little. And now we just, like, lost a bunch of Hydras for literally nothing. We killed, like, 2 cannons. There weren't even any probes at this base yet. Oh, that's unfortunate. Losing 2 lurkers for free. Without even burrowing them. Damn, that sucks. That was a pretty nasty storm. Yeah, it seems like this is another roaming group of Hydras that will just like slowly get whittled down into nothing. They are keeping the Protoss at home, so that is good, but without a 4th base, or more drones, or just more macro in general, we're just delaying the inevitable Protoss push. We're not really like establishing an economic advantage as Zerg, so I'm still worried for the Zerg. These are unupgraded links. These links just aren't going to do a whole lot. Like, they just kind of die to zealots, and their DPS is so low that they struggle to kill anything, because they only do like 3 points of damage with each attack. And at this point it seems that Protoss is close to double of Zerg's supply. Again, we can just like kind of push across the map and there's nothing that Zerg could do against this. And we have a 4th coming. Seems like Protoss thought that Zerg might have retaken the 4th, but no such case. If we just park the army here, Zerg loses. Yeah, we are going to. Okay, at this point, yeah, we just like push in. One Sunken is not going to do anything. The storm is disgusting. I think 6 Hydras died from that storm, and 2 more were left at 1 HP. and the second storm kills them all. There will be a small Zerg flank, but the small Zerg flank will just die to all of this, so this is GG. There's no way to come back from this. Yeah, this is the last fight of the game. We actually stormed our own zealots as much as we did the Zerg army, but it doesn't really matter. Yep, GG. Okay, so as 2 games, I will take a 30-second break and then I will continue the cast from there. Alright, I'm back. I really did say it was going to be a short break. So far, I believe that was a third of our games. There are 4 games to go. Both of those games were PvZ. I would say that both of those games were pretty standard. One was like a standard Zerg win in the early game, just mass sling, and Protoss can't hold it. And the other game is very standard mid-game Protoss timing push. The third game is not going to be a PvZ. It's going to be Pop, a player who I played in Preaseaon last time, and Crimson. It's been a while since I've seen Pop. I just remember playing against him like once or twice in Preaseaon. I think he completely wrecked me. I was very bad at PvT back then. I'm a bit better now. And here we have Crimson. Crimson, I believe, is the player who died to Maniac Ben in Game 1. Okay, this seems right. I think that this is enough space for barracks. And Protoss is going to be going for a pylon in base, so I imagine this won't be any sort of ultra-aggressive play. Barracks? Yeah. Barracks? Yeah, there we go. As for Protoss, this smells like Nexus first. Yeah, it is Nexus first. So we're gonna get some Nexus first. That will be fun. I'm curious what sort of scout will the Terran do. If Terran goes End Scout, Terran should be able to scout this and potentially try a rush. If Terran does some sort of like traditional horizontal, then vertical, then horizontal scout, then Protoss will completely get away with this, and Terran will not be able to do anything. So we sent the scout at 14 supply, which I think is a tiny bit greedier than normal. This is the 2-gate variant of Nexus First, so this is going to be a bit more defensive than it otherwise can be. I would say that of the 3 Nexus First builds I'm aware of, which are 1-gate Nexus First, 2-gate Nexus First, and Forge Nexus First, this is like a middle-of-the-road option in terms of the defense it provides. It's not as punishable as 1-gate Nexus First, but still, it's still like more punishable than Forge Nexus First. Okay, yeah, this is a pretty good scout. We got here on time. I think we can still like choose to punish this if we so choose, although against 2-gate, and you might not want to, because Protoss might just panic, make a whole bunch of Zealots, and then just like keep a whole bunch of Zealots in base that will not do anything, and then like you can come back just by making units that scale more than the rather crappy Protoss Zealot. I am curious if Pop will try to punish this. I think if we were trying to punish this, we would have already sent out our army. Okay, no, we are pulling 3 SCVs? That makes no sense. If we are trying to punish 2-gate Nexus first, we need way more than 4 SCVs. This should not work out. Like... What? We started engaging the first Zealot, but we're just like... We already have Dragoons on the way, and we already have 2 Zealots here. I have a feeling that Pop may know some of the small theory behind how to punish Nexus first, but has rarely done it before. Because right now, the best we can hope for is just some probe kills before moving back. We're definitely not killing the Nexus with this army. And the Vulture is already low on health. The Vulture is like the most important part. It can like kill probes faster than anything else, and it's dead. Okay, it's held. We did start a CC behind this, but it'll be a while before it's done. And up to that point, we can just like keep on pumping probes and Dragoons, and Terran will struggle. I think we have something AFK here. Oh, it's a probe. Probably like an AFK scout. Will this barracks finish in time? No way. This is a really rough game for Pop so far. Second mine is down, but the mines are placed too close, so the Dragoons just shoot them down. At this point, like, Protoss macro is just overwhelming. Especially since we only have 1 factory, we have 2 gates, just pumping Dragoons all the time. We can just, like, rally 2 Dragoons over and over. And these Vultures can't, like, do anything against that. We even have Zealots to tank for the mines. Yeah, really unfortunate. Okay, that was excellent. But still, the Dragoon survives with 21 HP. I wonder if we can track this mines and kill more SCVs. Yeah, that was kind of worth it. At this point, like, it's just so bad for Pop. Ah, the probe was used for probe chill? Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, I think that was probably true. It makes sense to hide the probe over there and use it for the probe drill. To be honest, I rarely do Nexus first, so I rarely have to probe drill in this matchup to defend it. Okay, that was kind of like poor micro with the Dragoons, which brings us back into the game. We were actually able to like at least save the CC, and Protoss in the meanwhile was not making any workers for the entirety of that rush. So while this is bad, it's not like game losing. Realistically speaking, Protoss had the minerals to like make like 10 workers, while macroing all those Dragoons to the Terra Natural. Okay, the Vulture is out. We do have a mines around, but the third Nexus was already placed. This is pretty funny. We're actually transferring more workers than we need to. We actually transferred so many workers to the Natural that we don't have enough workers for the main. Kind of a bit of lost efficiency. These are great mine connections. We might kill another Dragoon. Yeah, we did kill another Dragoon. And this Dragoon is so low on health. Really, like, the mine connections are doing a lot to keep Terran in this game. Because we killed basically like 4 gas units, possibly, for these cheap Vultures. 75, etc. We do need to be constantly on SCV production. Like, the command center is not blinking. Neither is the Nexus, for that matter. This one is blinking. We are making probes here, but okay, now we're starting to make more SCVs and probes. I think all these vultures are out of mines, so once we get an observer, which is coming out soon, we will be able to save this Nexus. I don't think the Nexus should die. Or we can just, like, brute force it. Yeah, no. Okay. I thought we were actually gonna get that micro, but nope. This is, like, why it's kind of risky to do this. Like, usually it doesn't work out. Okay, we have 3 more mines on these vultures. Meanwhile, we are going up. We made our second factory. Our +1 is halfway done. The observer is finally out. We can definitely hold any sort of aggression, I think. Or we should be able to. We should have enough Dragoons to hold this. I don't think these 2 tanks can accomplish much. Come on, move the Dragoons back. Join them up together. Okay, now that we have our 6 Dragoons, I think we can just, like, kind of start pouncing on this. I was wondering if that mine... Okay, oh no. I was wondering if that mine would come into effect, and it actually did come into effect. Yeah, a bit of unfortunate micro kind of means that we actually did end up losing a lot of stuff to this push. And now we're kind of like doing this thing where we're pouncing on the tank. We pounced on a high health tank rather than a low health tank, and then Terran just moves the tank back, and our Dragoons fall way out of position. The Marines do a whole bunch of DPS on the Dragoons, and the Dragoons die. So now we are just like kind of like trading like 3 Dragoons for each tank. Like, it's just so inefficient. We can then micro the tank back home, join it up with 2 more tanks, have 3 tank push coming. Yeah, so like this is like excellent play so far by Pop to get back into this game after an unsuccessful Nexus first bust. Okay, I don't agree with this. Like, what? This is not serious. Like, this is a meme. Like, we're just kind of like gonna lose this tank for free. Like, rather than have this tank here, we should be like joining up with 3 tanks. Okay, like this. Yeah, this is good. And then I think we can probably just like send maybe like 1 vulture here to make sure that any probes mining here are dead and hold this position. So we have more tanks coming? We do. And okay, we're making Goliaths. Meanwhile, on the Protoss side, we're not really like making anything more out of the Robo, and we don't have a Reaver tech. We're just going on mass Zealot Dragoon. So far, mass Dragoon. We are starting to mix in Sun Zealots. I'm guessing that the speed upgrade finished, because it's already 11 minutes, and we do have the Citadel. Okay, yeah, it did finish. This position is like... If we have like more mines here and here, I would say it's a pretty good position, but so far it's pretty fragile. We can kind of just like move like a round of Zealots into this, clear all the mines, and start getting on top of the siege tanks. There's not that many siege tanks. We do need more gates though. Currently 5 gates is insufficient, and I don't know why we're going up to Templar Archives. Like, we need way more gates before we add in Templars. That is... Oh, that is disgusting. This is the Terran dream right here. Oh my god. That was ridiculous. That was like 8 Dragoons plus all the Zealots for like 3 tanks. Hello, Escalade. Good pullback micro on the tank. Are we gonna kill the Observer? No, it seems like we're not. The scan ran out. I think, yeah, there's no way to stop this Vulture from killing this Nexus. Meaning we're definitely not gonna be mining a 3rd base anytime soon. And yeah, it's GG. Makes sense. It was a pretty, like, tilting position as the Protoss, like, Terran kills your 3rd at the 12-minute mark. 13-minute mark, rather. And we just have no follow-up bases. And meanwhile, we can just like freely start our own 3rd CC and just keep upping the factory count. Just really rough position to play in. And we didn't have enough gates to contest it. Alright, GG. That was a really well played game by Pop after the early game disaster. Alright, 3 more games. That was Pop versus Crimson, now Pop versus Maniac Ben. This will be a TVZ. Obviously, the matchup I am most knowledgeable on as a Protoss player. Again, Maniac Ben will get the first scout with the Overlord, because it's horizontal spawns. I'm curious, I don't entirely know how Wallens work on this map now, because I know that there's been a lot of changes regarding Wallens in TVC, especially on this map. I know that the most recent version of this map had some changes to the map layout to discourage Terran Wallens or make them more punishable. I don't know if they apply to this position for Terran though. Is this 12 hatch? Possibly. I don't know for sure yet whether it's 12 hatch. Might still be something else. Okay, so this is not a Wallen. This is going to be a standard 1 base establishment and then getting a second base once we have the Marine count for it. We're probably going to make a bunker in the natural then. And here, this is definitely a 12 hatch at this point. I imagine we're going to be sending the drone shortly to establish that. Yeah, there we go. We have our barracks. I think that, yeah, 1:30 is the time that you want to send out a scout in this matchup, which lines up with this. Maybe 4 seconds late, but overall this is on time. And we have our own scout. I imagine this will either be a 3rd hatchery, or it will just be sent back to mine more minerals in the main, once we ensure that this is Terran's spawn position. Is it normal to send it across the map? I don't really know what the point of sending it across the map is. Maybe it's going down this path to scout if there was a barracks in the center of the map. Otherwise I have no idea, or maybe this is just a 3rd hatchery. I feel like this is a rather odd position for a 3rd hatchery. Normally, my understanding is that if you want to place a 3rd hatchery in another corner of the map, you would place it over here. We'll see what it turns into. Is this our first Marine of the game? It is. Are we getting a second Marine of the game? No, because we're supply blocked. And we are going to be supply blocked for a while more. This does seem like something suboptimal happened in this build, because the supply block seems a bit odd. I'm not gonna lie. However, we're not gonna get punished for it so far. Well, maybe we are. That is 6 lanes right now. 6 lanes if we don't make more Marines is scary. But we are sending the first Marine back, which is definitely the right call in this position. No need to sacrifice it to 6 lanes. I wonder if we're gonna start a bunker anytime soon. Because I would probably feel a bit worried about a link run by. Okay, it's gonna be Academy. So it's gonna be Turax Academy most likely. And Lara started. Oh, nice. We do have another SCV on the map that will go back and get a second scout of the Zerg base. So that's good. Meanwhile, this is a bit rough. We can defend this with good micro. It's just gonna be a bit rough. So far, first SCV is on 15 HP. The Marines are going back into the SCV line. We lose 1 Marine. So far, this is going pretty good for the Zerg. We're basically yeah, this is losing our Marine count like this hurts, especially because this prevents This delays like the Marine Ball later on in the game. We basically lost like 4 Marines for 3 Zerglings, so that's a horrible trade. Yeah, the drone is still here. I'm still like waiting to see what will happen with it. It's just kind of like here AFK. We're just kind of droning up as the Zerg, which makes sense. Like, Terran lost so many Marines that 2-Rax Academy push is just really hard to execute in this game state. It will be like a 2-Rax Academy push with like 6 Marines max, rather than the usual 8. Okay, we're going up to a 3rd barracks. Is this... Where's our eBay? Okay, no, it's here. And +1 has started. Nice. Yeah, I feel like so much of the early game harassment probably came down to the fact that Terran didn't make an early enough bunker. Right now, link speed is done. We do have 13 Zerglings, I believe, or maybe 14 Zerglings. Actually, we have more than 14 Zerglings. We have like 16 or so. Again, I think that 12 Zerglings could probably pounce on this and kill it. But I don't know exactly how the math works of bunker versus Zerglings. I don't know how many Zerglings you need to bust a bunker. We're going to try though. Because of the position of the bunker, the SCVs weren't able to repair it in time, and it does go down. Right now we're just like losing a bunch of SCVs. And we're losing a turret. These things are getting like fantastic value so far. This is really good. The SCV count is now back to being below the drone count. The mutas should be popping soon. We do scout the Spire and the eggs. Will be 6 mutas, I think. We do have a 3rd base established over here. The drone is still AFK. I think it's going to be here for the rest of the game. 2 medics and 6 marines versus 8 mutalisks. Yeah, I'm going to say that that's probably maybe just a tiny bit Zerg favored. But we do have 3 turrets over here. I don't think we killed a single SCV with that, with those mutalisks. So far this is kind of going pretty well for Terran. The mutalisk micro is just not on point. Like, not all of the mutalisks are attacking the target. And so far it's going decently for Pop. We do have more mutalisks coming though. I don't think we made any sort of upgrade from the Spire, so it seems we're not intending to stay on mutalisks for long. Rather, we're going up to Queen's Nest. I don't think we've started Hive so far. I imagine we'll be starting Hives shortly. This is like really funny to see because you see 3 turrets over here and like this is really well defended. But if you go over here, if you like fly over here and kill these 2 turrets, this main is pretty much free. I would say that this is a game where the Terran main is much more exposed than the Terran natural, which just has a very high number of turrets, going up to 5 turrets, while we still only have like 2 over here and another 2 over here. That being said, is Hive started? No, not yet. Lurker aspect is finishing up. There's definitely like a window of opportunity here, but the marine count just may not be high enough to exploit it. 0. Okay, the Hydras are going up here to block the ramp. Which is risky because we only now have our lurkers making 2 sunken colonies. Yeah, there's definitely like a very bustable window, but I think it's too late to count on it. The sunkens and lurkers will both finish in time before the marines arrive here. So we have science vessels coming, because without science vessels, there just may not be a path forward for Terran in this game. We need to start our starports. The best time to start our starports was probably like 2 minutes ago, but the second best time is right now, and yeah, that's what we're doing. This is around 20-ish Marines, maybe less. Yeah, around 20. If Terran tries to bust his position, I think that Zerg would be able to hold it. 3 Sunkins plus 3 Lurkers plus a flock of Mulisks should delete this. Looks like the drone will die. Never did anything with its life. Rip. It's dead. Okay, we can start science vessels now. So at least that's something. And okay, so Terran scanned and saw that this was probably hard to break. I am a bit surprised by the position of the Lurkers. I feel like normally you see the Lurkers farther back compared to the Sunkins. Like, this Lurker is very far forward, and I don't know why. Like, this Lurker just seems like it will get picked off before it does anything. I'm not entirely sure why we're doing this. It just seems like we're just like kind of giving 2 Lurkers away for free. Because like now we can just like kill 2 Lurkers. Like, why did we push these forward? Not really sure. Especially when we have Consume finishing up soon. Do they see each other? These, no, they don't. They don't see each other. It's just pretty funny to see, like, these AFK Zerglings and Marines. Third base is started. This is probably like the matchup where Terrans are this is like the matchup where Terrans are most insistent to stay on 2 base only. Terrans just don't go up to 3 base a lot in this matchup. Probably because link counterattacks just like so easily shut down a Terran expansion that it's hard for Terran to hold any expansions outside of their base. But it seems like we might just lose 3 Lurkers for free right now. There's no Defiler around. We only have 2 Lurkers left. So far, while a bust still seems hard against Defiler, this is pretty good progress. Do we have Ultralisks coming? Not yet. We don't have an Ultralisk Cavern. We just have a lot of Defilers and a medium amount of Lurkers. We kind of have way more Defilers than we need so far. I suspect that if Terran went to dropship this game, Zerg would probably really struggle against that, because we just don't have a lot of anti-air defense around our main, apart from the natural. Oh, I thought that would be a Plague. Is Plague done? Plague's finishing up. That was a Plague. That would have been like a really good Plague, but it was just like an okay Dark Swarm. However, during that, one or two of the science vessels died, so it helps keep the science vessel count low. Okay, we do have dropships. Oh, nice. Like these dropships can just really do a whole lot, especially since these lurkers are moving out of position. If we move the dropships in right now, it could even possibly win us the game. Like, where is this Nidus Canal connected to? Right now we just need to ferry more forces through the Nidus Canal, because we're just losing a lot. We're losing like most of our defilers right now. We lost that one. Okay, we are sending more lurkers over. But now that we send all of those lurkers over here, we have like we have 8 lurkers, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, actually it's 9 lurkers. We only have 2 lurkers left on this side. So this is like kind of like the turn way. Now that Zerg focused over their defenses down here, we can kind of just bust. We can like advance towards busting this side as pop. Meanwhile, our third is up, but we're not really saturating it yet. We do have 2 more dropships made. I'm not really a fan of where these mutas are, because these mutas could help defend against future dropship play if they were like over here or over here, but them being over here is just kind of useless. This is pretty troll. What is this? Why? Why? You know what I love to do? I love to throw 300 minerals down the train. Hell yeah. I mean, it is a nice bait. We kind of just like lost a bunch of Zerglings, so this play actually kind of works out if we now cancel the command center, because we lost 100 minerals to make the command center, and Zerg spent like 12 Zerglings to try and deny it, which is pretty funny. Still more science vessels. Where are our science vessels? We have 4 dropships. That's where all the dropships went. But where are the science vessels? Are they all dead? I guess we lost every single science vessel. We're just making mass dropship right now. How many Scourge is this? 6 Scourge? We can kill 3 of the 4 dropships if they connect. Oh my god, if he flies them right into the dropships... Oh no! Oh dear. We just lost 20 supply in 3 seconds. So right now, Zerg is getting a 4th, but it's not mining it yet. And Pop did get a 3rd, but is only now starting to mine it. There is a 4th making for Pop as well. We'll see how that goes. If Terran splits the map, Terran will probably win this game. We're back up to 2 science vessels. Eight barracks is pretty good. Pretty good barracks count. And finally, we're finally gonna like do what we've been trying to do for a while, which is mass dropship play to get past the Zerg wall. I imagine that Zerg will see this coming, because Zerg has repeatedly scouted the dropships building up in this position. And we do have a decent number of lurkers defending this spot, so I just doubt that these dropships will do anything game-winning or anything of the sort. 2 defilers. Are we going to lose another dropship? Oh no. Oh. Yeah, we're just like... We're losing 10 supply every single time that happens. It's just like... really devastating. Means that like we won't really have the critical mass to fight Ultras when they emerge out on the map, which they're going to do fairly soon. Imagine the Ultra upgrades are finishing up. How is Ultra? We have 5 armor Ultras. The max armor that Ultras can have is 6 armor. Okay, finally we pulled the plug, or not the plug. We pulled the trigger on display. So we're gonna see what we get done with these Marines. I have a feeling it's on a whole lot. Yeah, like we're killing a decent number of Lings, but we're just getting them plagued. There's no way they'll be able to fight these Lurkers. They're just gonna be standing in this corner and being sad. And now every single Marine will die. Yeah, they'll get 1-hit killed. Our macro is really good as Pop. Like, despite losing these massive Marine chunks, like losing this Marine chunk, losing 3 dropships worth of Marines, we still have way higher supply count than Zerg. So we have really good macro. However, how did this happen? I completely missed this. Maybe another dropship. That certainly seems possible. But right now, yeah, despite our supply count, like the Ultralisks can all just emerge from one side, the side that has fewer Marines, kill stuff over here, emerge out on the map, and now Terra no longer has map control. Because these are only 1-1 Marines, these are 5 armor Ultralisks. We just don't have the critical mass so far bunched up to fight against these Ultralisks, so these Ultralisks just kind of have free reign over the map. However, this Irradiate is really good. It's doing like 40 damage per second to all these other Ultralisks around it. Yeah, and while these Ultralisks are fighting and getting good value, we have the resources to make another 5 or 6 Ultralisks immediately. It's just really, really hard. Like, we lost our critical mass. And now we're going to lose our 3rd. Yeah, GG. Again, just didn't have the resources to fight against the Ultralisks. Or rather, the supply. Or the upgrades. Alright, well played by Ben. Those were like... I think like the repeated sniping of the dropships, killing like 3 dropships, each with 8 supply, plus like then like encircling the last 2 dropships when they drop stuff over here, kind of sealed the game. Okay, so it's Pop versus Ben. Now we have Pop versus Siggy Stardust and Siggy Stardust versus Crimson. So this will be PvT and PvP. Yeah, okay. Vertical spawns. Which is also what happened in the Crimson game between Pop and Crimson. Maybe, like Crimson, Stardust will also do the Nexus first, but we'll see. Right, Pylon. Should be a supply depot shortly. That seems a bit late as far as supply depots go. I think that there will be like a 5-second supply block here for Pop. But I could be mistaken. We will see. Ah, odd position for a gateway. And yeah, there was a short supply block here. Still, no big deal. This will be... So, generally speaking, and this is very high generalities, when the probe goes out like this, it generally indicates that Stardust is planning to go for a Zealot. But we will see if that is true. In either case, this will not be like dedicated Zealots because we're getting the gas. So I imagine if we are going Zealot, we're going to follow it up with Dragoons. And yeah, okay. I think if there was a Zealot, we would have made it by now. And yeah, this just looks like factory expand. Oh, 230 factory. Very nice. Maybe 231 factory. I see that, like, in exchange for getting such a decently fast factory, it seems that Pop chose to scout later than normal, because this will be a fairly late scout. It might possibly be a double scout to compensate for the late scouting, because it seems like we'll be scouting both edges of the map simultaneously. Yeah, okay, so we got a fast factory, but now we're gonna be double scouting to guarantee that we're not dying to anything too aggressive. The scout will probably go home now. Oh, that's an interesting pylon placement. I'm not really sure exactly why we want to place a pylon there, but we'll see what Stardust has planned for the future. In any case, this is not 23 Nexus, because 23 Nexus gets a Nexus before the pylon. Wait, are we actually going to get the scout in? We are. Interesting. Yeah, okay. This SCV will get a pretty good scout of the Protoss base. However, the minor pathing error around this pylon meant that the SCV kind of moved downwards, and that gave the Dragoon enough space to kill it. If the SCV moved upwards, we probably could have scouted the rest of the base up here before dying. The CC was placed basically at the same time as the Nexus, which is probably overall pretty good for Terran. We get a free kill with a Vulture. This Vulture can't really go up the ramp though. This is two Dragoons. This is pretty scary. I would think you probably should just like go up the ramp, wait for another Vulture, and then like just like hold the ramp. Interesting. We sent the Vulture into the base. So this is dual micro war happening right now. We have a Vulture. Didn't really get much done, and then we have two Dragoons, which are just like being all around annoying. They have 6 kills between them. I'm surprised we're making another Vulture. I think we would start making a tank at this point just to hold this. Okay, we're actually successfully evacuating the goons out of the base, which is pretty good play. Like, we got a lot of value out of these goons. 7, 8, 9 kills between them. Funnily enough, the Dragoon that's more damaged got the less kills. So this is a pretty good position for Stardust so far. And we saved the goons, which I like that. Rather than like just suiciding them by keeping them around in the Terran base. We still aren't making a tank, so we're just relying purely on Vulture harassment. Only one of these Vultures has mines though. The Nexus has started, so while they can kill the probe, they won't be able to deny the Nexus. Especially since we should have a Robo finishing, and yeah, we do. So far, while this is somewhat similar to the Crimson game between Pop and Crimson, in that Pop ended up relying a lot on vulture harassment to get back in the game, but in this game it doesn't seem to be going as well. The Dragoons are playing more defensive, and they're not dying to the mines, and the fact that we had to place mines here meant that we couldn't place as many mines over here. Like, this vulture won't really do anything, it has one mine left. This vulture will get blocked, it's just going to die now. The observer will be coming shortly. We still don't have a tank. We are getting our second factory. We are getting... Okay, the armory is finished, it's just down here. We don't have any turrets, which makes... We don't really need turrets yet, so... That makes sense. That was pretty good micro. And yeah, the vulture will die now. Kind of just places a random mine over there, and it dies before it even like gets to burrow in the ground. So far, a pretty good game for Protoss. Third successfully established. We are 7 workers ahead of the Terran. And there is not really any sort of push potential at this point. We have 3 gates. We easily have enough Dragoon production to defend against any sort of like early tank push. And we can just kind of like turtle up on 3 bases. Stop any mines from going in this general area, and send an observer across the map. Okay, 5 factory. Imagine that because of the slightly rough start, these factories are a bit late than normal. I think normally with 5 factory you want to start making them at like 8 minutes or even earlier. But in this case they started at like 8:30. The Citadel started. I think if we start legs immediately, so as long as we just like make zealots at this point and go up to like 8-ish gates, we should very much be able to hold any sort of 5 factory push. We just need to have like good coverage of observers. We currently have 3 observers. We just like start sending them across the map to like maybe like one here maybe. And then like we just have good vision of any sort of Terran move out. That being said, we could saturate the space more. We've only gotten 6 more probes in the past 2 minutes. So the probe production is not perfect, but neither is Terran on great SCV production, only 39 SCVs. I think something that Stardust has been doing really well this game is constantly like keeping a roaming group of goons who are just like maintaining vision, denying mines, and making Terran nervous by the lack of mine coverage. Because currently all of the mines have been removed, and Terran just doesn't know a lot about what Protoss is doing or where Protoss is moving their army. I'm not really sure what the point of this position is. Like, we're just kind of like having 2 tanks sieged here for no purpose. Seems like we sniped 1 observer. We're going up to 6 factory now. The armory is starting +1 armor. This is good mine coverage. The observer is lagging behind, but it arrived. Okay, and we started the zealot spam. So now all of these gates will just be making zealots non-stop. We can add more gates now. Currently we're on 7 gates. We can easily increase that gate count. So far, I would definitely say that this is a Protoss game to lose. Especially since we're starting a 4th before the third has even started. One thing though is I'm a bit surprised by the goon count, because we have 12 goons over here. Oh, yeah, 12 goons over here, another 12 over here, and then we have another 12 over, like not quite 12, but more like another 8 goons over here. So we're currently like on around 30-ish goons, which is a very, very high goon count. Probably unnecessarily high. Usually I think it's recommended to stop making goons once you have like 22 goons or so. 2 control groups of goons is kind of like the most you need, generally speaking. So far the goons have been getting good trades. We lost like 3 goons, and we killed a lot of vultures and 2 siege things, so that was pretty good. And then we pulled them back, so far very solid. It really hurts Terran that we just like have 2 observers over the entirety of this army. We just have a lot of free vision, and we haven't yet saturated our 3rd. But neither have we saturated our 4th as Protoss, to be fair. However, I think that overall this is a very difficult position to hold as Terran. Like, Pop is behind by 60 supply. Admittedly, some of that supply is still being made in gates, and some of it is stuck in High Templars, which are waiting to build up energy. But still, I think that there is a risk of being busted if we make more zealots, if we bring these zealots down here, and if we just like push through this corridor. But I'm not sure that that's the game Ziggy wants to play, because these High Templars kind of indicate that Ziggy's not going for a bust timing. Ziggy's going for just like a general late game storm timing, where we just like rely on Psystorm to kill a late game Terran army. And yeah, okay, we're making shuttles, so this is very much like modern inspired, like shuttle storm style. However, we didn't get Reavers, and the shuttles are coming out surprisingly late, but still. This is fairly modern-inspired play from Protoss. And Terran pushed out, so now we're just like jumping on top of this. To be honest, like this is just like an unnecessary amount of Dragoons, and they're not getting full value, but we have so much supply that it kind of doesn't matter, especially since the push-out was just so small. It was like 8 tanks moving over here. It was just like a very strange push-out, leading to like this opportunity for Terran to just like lose a bunch of tanks for nothing, really. This might just be game right now, because we have these High Templars coming over. If the High Templars get to storm the SCVs, it's definitely GG. Okay, yeah. Most of the storms have been spent. We do have 1 storm over here, but even then, this is still just like really rough. Yeah, Pop kind of misplayed this. Like, Pop just needed to, like, turtle over here, wait for, like, 150 supply, or maybe even higher, before ever dreaming of pushing out, and then just hope that Protoss doesn't build up too much army, doesn't expand too much across the map, and, like, doesn't get any late game tech. But the fact that we pushed out with half our army so soon kind of just like gave Protoss this bust opportunity. And at this point, like, this game is very hard to lose as Protoss, because the tank count is low enough that you can just like trade zealots for tanks endlessly. This will very soon become a 6-base Protoss against 2-base Terran. I don't think that's like... There's like no world, no reality in which that is a winnable position. And what's very scary here is that like we're just kind of like building up and sieging tanks on old minefields, which wouldn't matter if the Protoss army was just like over here, but Protoss went for a lot of shuttles, so Protoss can just kind of like drop zealots onto these minefields and blow up a tank for every single zealot dropped. I foresee a disaster. Like, all these mines are Terran units. Well, no, all these mines are Protoss units, as Abji likes to say it. That's a lot of gates. This is also a lot of gates. Also, while I understand the impulse to counterattack with vultures, counterattacking with vultures just means that we're gonna have less stuff to defend our tanks if Protoss tries to bust again. Like, these vultures just aren't accomplishing much. They maybe killed like 4 probes, died 2 cannons, and they're now trying to kill a full health nexus. We just kind of ended up like trading vultures for nothing, really. Like, this is ambitious. This is never going to be mining. Okay, it seems like Terran is finally starting to bust, or finally starting to like aggressively push across the map again. It's like, it's a pretty good tank count, but there's just nothing between it. Like, it's like 8 vultures, and all the tanks are on minefields, as previously mentioned. We can just kind of like drop cells over here and blow up like 6 siege tanks. Psystorm? 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 Okay, we don't even need Psystorm because we just have mines. That's like a ridiculous number of gates. Like, I almost never seen that many gates established at a second Protoss base. This is what, 5 gates? There are 5 gates. This is 11 gates. And over here we have... Actually, we have more gates over here than we do over here. That's pretty funny. How long has this Dragoon been alive? It's at 1 HP, it got 11 kills. This Dragoon has a story. Almost want to like go back through the replay just to see like when this Dragoon was made and how it got all of these kills. This Dragoon has 14 kills, Jesus Christ. Sorry about that. Needed to talk to someone real quick. Okay, all of these SCVs are dead. Right now it's just looking increasingly like over for pop, because we have 29 SCVs. This base is low on minerals and almost no SCVs are mining. This base is out. This base is the only thing left. And again, I guess like 32 SCVs is enough saturation for just this one base, but we just can't really sustain much on one base economy. And the Arbiter is out, so yeah, GG. A really good macro from Stardust, especially with all the gates. Impressed by that. That's like more gates than I ever make in the game. Okay, last game of the day. Stardust versus Crimson. PvP this time. Cross-pawn PvP. I think that, in general, Radiant is in some ways a pretty standard map for PvP, but there are a few things that should be noted about it. First of all, the ramp is wider than most other maps, so the wide-ish ramp means that it's kind of hard sometimes, or harder rather, to hold against early Zealot pushes, or like 3-gate Goon. If your opponent makes 3-gate Goon and you're trying to hold until you have Reaver, that can sometimes be a tiny bit tougher. And also, there are these dead zones on the map leading into your natural, and it's just like so free to just park a shuttle there and fly in at any point, because it's just like literally unpunishable for ground units to snipe those shuttles from the dead zone. Other than that, this map is mostly standard. If this was a horizontal spawn, then you see a lot of Reaver harass on horizontal spawns, because it's just so easy for both players to fly shuttles back and forth between this dead zone into the natural and just like kill like 3 probes and fly back out. But on a cross map, that's still possible. It's just like harder to get your shuttles there. Okay, so we do have a build alteration. Noob, Ziggy Stardust is going for 1-gate play, which is standard and kind of like what most pros do on high enough level. However, the gas is late, very late. So we're still making an early Zealot, and we haven't even put a core down yet. So this might be like 2 Zealot and then Goon. While over here, this is 2-gate, which is like the most popular ladder build for PvP, especially on low levels. The idea behind this build is like a 3 Zealot timing push, where you get 3 Zealots, and then you push across the map with 3 Zealots. And the idea is to like scout your opponent's base and pressure them before they have a solid Dragoon count. However, 10-12 gate pushes are not as good when it's cross spawn than when it's close spawn. This build really falls off of power in this position because this is just such a long travel distance. And yeah, okay, this is 2 Zealot before Goon, so looks like I read that correctly. However, we do need to start the Goon. Oh, we're not mining gas. Why are we not mining gas? Oh, okay, we are mining gas just with 1. Interesting. Am I like missing something? Why would we want to go for a 3rd Zealot before the Goon? Not yet sure. In any case, this looks like a Forge expand. What I'm suspecting will happen is that after enough zealot pressure, we will then make a forge and place a nexus over here. That's my guess. Or we just like place a gas and go into standard Dragoon play. Yeah, so the benefits of this build so far for Ziggy Stardust is that we're still getting enough zealots to hold this for the most part, but we're also getting our Dragoons faster than our opponent. And the ramp is guaranteeing good trades for us. Currently we lost 2 zealots for Crimson without getting any like of Ziggy's zealots. Obviously that's starting to change now. Right now, wow, okay, GG. Really? I guess it was like semi all in. Fair enough. I guess like Crimson didn't really have a plan for how to follow that up. I think that like it was a bit of an early GG. Maybe Crimson wasn't really familiar with the game state, but Crimson could have tried to get a fast Nexus and tried to have defended with Forge and cannons. That's kind of what a lot of like ladder players do. Right, well, that was the last game though. Kind of like a bit disappointed it didn't go on for longer, but it is what it is. That should be all the games for today. Yeah, all the games. And yeah. GG everyone. I would say I was very impressed by like Ziggy's macro against Pop. Like also impressed by the way that Pop used Vultures to come back against 12 Nexus against Crimson. Funnily enough, I think the Terran versus Protoss games were probably my favorite, which is rare for me because I usually enjoy Protoss versus Zerg games more, but I think that those games were actually pretty impressive to watch. Right. That'll be it then.